What is up, guys? Tonight on Project RX-8, we're going to be preparing to do a little tuning. So before we begin, for those of you that are just tuning in on the build, this is my daily driver. I'm not going crazy with the mods. To extract much more power out of the 13B Renesys from here, it would either require porting or forced induction. This motor only has 39,000 miles on it now. I've owned it since I bought it with 22,000 on the clock. And these are the mods that we've done so far. So it's just a cold air intake. It has an exotic speed header, which I don't think you guys are going to be able to see from here because the engine bay is a little bit of a cluster. In the process of installing the header, we deleted the factory air pump assembly, and I'm going to just make a little caveat. I do have a check engine light for that right now. The header is then mated to a catless mid-pipe, which has a cell spacer in it. I think it's just an eBay one. It came with a parts RX-8 that I bought. I don't have a brand name for it. There's a tiny resonator built into it, but that does not actually throw a check engine light. Initially it did, and then it went away and it never came back. The exhaust is then mated to the factory catback because I wanted a quiet exhaust and I didn't want to add weight to the car. The only exhaust that I know on the market that is decently quiet is the Racing Beat, but it actually weighs 10 pounds more. And this setup is really quiet until you step on the gas and then it makes a nice noise. So I didn't think that there was any real need to spend the money on the exhaust to add some weight, so I didn't change it. For some reliability mods, we have upgraded Bennett built GM LS coils. These are the D585s with MSD ignition wires. We bypassed the factory oil metering in favor of a Sone oil meter adapter. So we're pulling Idemitsu premix from the firewall there. Factory battery is gone. Nice little lightweight battery in its place. Other weight reduction mods, I have an aftermarket steering wheel, removing the OEM wheel and airbag assembly. So there's a Nardi Classico in there. And we have a set of Tane Flex Z coilovers on Enki Kojin 18 by 9.5 wheels, front and rear. So that's pretty much everything on the car. The last step is kind of tying everything together, doing a little bit of tuning. So for the tuning software, I'm going with MazdaEdit, which I have already purchased, and we're going to go over the installation for that. And to make this work, you have to get this Tatrix open port version 2.0, and this ties into your OBD2 port. Now, I've never used this type of setup. All my cars that I have done tuning on have standalone ECUs, so we have completely replaced the factory ECUs. Because this is my daily driver, because this is an OBD2 car that I still have to take through emissions, I want to be able to drive it to emissions and still pass without having to do anything serious. So right now, the only thing that is actually prohibiting this from passing an OBD2 scan test here in Connecticut is the fact that I am throwing a check engine light for the factory air pump removed. With MazdaEdit, because this is essentially a piggyback, I should be able to go in there and shut that readiness monitor off for the air pump assembly and set it to not supported. And I believe that will allow it to pass. Obviously, we'll have to see when I go for an emissions test, which this is due, and I will give you guys an updated report on that. So before I tune any car, there's a couple things that I like to do to get it ready. So one is just basic maintenance. Have fresh oil change, because on lower horsepower cars especially, there is like a little bit of frictional loss for worn oil versus fresh oil out of the box. So it's good to have it in as best shape as possible, right from the get-go. Big factor is new spark plugs. Spark plugs are a wear item, and people get really tied up with spark, but you just want to make sure that you are producing enough spark to burn the fuel. That has been my experience. I've really gone down the path of chasing spark, and it never led me anywhere positive. So doing massive ignition upgrades, I never really found benefit in it. In the case of the RX-8, I just wanted a coil that is known to last longer than the OEM coil, but produce the required spark, and that's why I went with the GM kit. For spark plugs, I'm a big advocate for the OEMs, and actually every single one of my car uses an NGK variant plug right out of the box. So these are the OEM trailing and leading spark plugs for the Mazda RX-8, the 13B Renesis. For those of you who have not seen rotary spark plugs, they're a little bit different than your conventional spark plug. It's kind of hard to see here. I don't know if I could pick it up on the camera, but the electrode is actually recessed into the head of the spark plug here. The Renesis has a unique, whatever you call this little guy here at the top. It's just a little bit different versus the older 13B spark plugs. But so we're going to be doing fresh plugs on it, and if your car takes an external fuel filter, that's one of the things that you want to replace as well, especially if it hasn't been replaced in a long time. The RX-8's fuel filter is actually just kind of built into the fuel pump assembly, and with only 38,000 miles on the car, I don't really have any concerns of it. But like older cars like the Miata and RX-7s, which have an external fuel filter, which is a wear item, a maintenance item, it's always a good idea to replace it, just because you want everything as like a good baseline, right? Because if spark is not optimal or if fueling's not optimal and you tune with that, later when you go and you actually replace those items and they're fresh and everything's working, or fuel flow changes a little bit, or your ignition gets a little bit stronger, it could throw the tune off. So it's important to get these things addressed now before you go out and have the car in optimal conditions. So that is your healthy baseline for when you do your tuning, and you can always get back to it when you do your maintenance. Okay, so let's begin with the MazdaEdit software installation. Now, like I said, I have not used this type of software to tune a car. I don't know if you can adjust this real time. I'm kind of hoping that you can, but I'm worried that it's going to be just flash-based tuning. If those of you guys caught my importance of tuning video where we had to retune my turbo Miata setup after I swapped it into that other gentleman's car, I showed the method that we have been using for tuning for years, using the brake to load the car up on the street and go through every cell in the maps, ignition and fuel to tune. So in the case of the MazdaEdit, it's a couple part install, and I did a little bit of reading ahead of time. So I bought the software and I downloaded the installation files for it. So we have the MEP V2 EXE here. The ECU flash and the open port are for the Tactrix. I don't know if I need both of them yet, or if I just need one or the other. So when I say this is a multi-part install, so we're gonna run the installation now. I haven't installed it yet. I haven't even gone through and did this ahead of time. The other thing is this is a dedicated laptop that I strictly use for tuning. I don't want any other crap on here. This is literally all my tuning software is on here, so you could see Warriors for my Adaptronics, Megatune for Megasquirt stuff, ECU Manager is for Haltech for the S2000, and so on and so forth. WinPep for all my dyno runs, because I do everything on a DynoJet, and I love that you can download the run files, put them in the WinPep, and view them with different correction factors applied. You get all the conditions that were present during the day. It's a great tool, and it's great for just kind of educational purposes and keeping track of things. So I am accepting everything here. I don't know what the Innovate SDK component is, but I'm gonna say yes. Let's do everything. So going back to this multi-part thing, I think once you install this, you get a temporary key that you have to send to the developer, and he will unlock the license file. So this is just the personal edition of this software, it's just tied for one VIN. So I'll create a desktop icon. So once the installation completes, I think you send him a key file for your install, and then he gives you one license key and one VIN. And then from there, you can go in and unlock the software fully, for which you'll be able to actually start doing tuning. So we're gonna do this first before we get to our maintenance items. Okay, here's just the, Okay, we are back. My laptop battery was actually dying, and that is why the screen went blank and went into sleep mode. So here we go, the installation. I clicked run after it finished installing, and it says the program requires a security key. If you have one, select OK to enter it. After entering a valid key, you'll be prompted again. So this is the part now where I think I get I gotta find the key to send to this guy. Oh, I got my hardware fingerprint right there. So I'm not gonna show it, but you get a hardware fingerprint on the screen right here. You gotta email it to the guy, and then he's gonna send me back a license key file that I will then enter in here to unlock the software. So, in the meantime, white balance, holy shit. In the meantime, I'm gonna email that off to him and we'll pick that up tomorrow. But tonight, as a preparatory thing, we'll change the spark plugs, and I already put a fresh oil change on this, so I'm not gonna show you guys that because I'm sure that most of you tuning in understand how to change oil on a car. So let's get to it with the spark plugs. All right, so we're back here, day 2. The developer got back to me with a name for the license and as well as a key. So we go ahead and copied that into here. We're gonna OK. It says key is valid and has been stored. So I think that's like basically my one license use here for this. So he gave me some further instructions that he wants me to follow, and that includes I think he said he wants me to connect the USB, open port to USB, go to main menu, and get him more info. So he wants the software or the device info as well as the VIN number of my car. So we're gonna do that next. Okay, so unboxing the Tactrix here. Show you what's inside. Sticker. Little dongle itself with USB attachments. Looks like this accepts some sort of a little SD memory card and a USB cable. So I downloaded those 2 applications off the website. I don't know which ones I need. I think one was drivers and the other one was some sort of a software, but I don't know which ones I need for this application, so I'm just gonna probably end up installing them both. But let's give this thing a connection, and we'll get the info that the developer needs and we'll send it back to him. All right, so I've connected the open port to my laptop, and it's flashing Ricer colors at me, which is kind of cool, I guess. It's actually auto installing this, so it must have went out to the internet and got drivers for it. So we are going to let this run and see what happens. Okay, so the automatic driver installation finished. But the next step is to actually open MazdaEdit and try to retrieve the device ID for the Tactrix itself. Mine's not being recognized, so I'm running the package that I downloaded previously for the driver portion of it. So I'm installing that now, and I'm gonna see if this will allow MazdaEdit to recognize the device, get the string from it that I need, and send that back to the developer. Okay, so this did seem to work after installing the driver package. So if I come and launch MazdaEdit now, okay, come to up in the top here, help, and then device link, and then we have a device key here. So send this key to the guy as well as my VIN, and he's supposed to send me a device key to match to input into here, and I think it's something else for the VIN. For my car, another key file, and then from there I should be able to launch and finally start tuning. So we'll pick this up again tomorrow as I'm getting ready to go to bed. So, all right, guys. So we are into the next day here. The developer did get back to me with some more keys and some more steps that we have to take care of. So the first one is he gave me 2 keys, one for VIN, one for device. We're going to copy the device key first. I have the open port connected to my laptop. So we're gonna come into the MazdaEdit software. We're gonna go to help, device link, and we are going to paste this key into here and apply it. Okay. Okay, it says device link installed. So we're gonna click OK there. Next, we're gonna take the VIN. Can't copy the whole thing because there's plus symbols in here. So we do that. And then we come back to my help menu and we're gonna go to VIN register and we're gonna paste this key here. And this is gonna register my VIN to the software. Okay, got an acknowledgement, VIN link installed. So now we are gonna go hook this up into the car and I'm gonna have to pull my my ECU dump file for him, send it back to him, and then I think he sends me an edited version and then I'll be okay. So let's go grab that now. All right guys, so now we are in the car. I have the open port connected to the OBD2 port, connected to my USB, connected to my laptop. So in the MazdaEdit software, we're gonna come to our tools menu and then the flash utility. Okay, so then we are going to do read. And I don't know if you have to be key on or not for this. I'm key off at the moment. But let's see here. Okay, it's telling me it needs to be key on. So bear with me while I key on. Okay. So now we're gonna press OK. So it looks like it says start reading. I could see some progress happening down here. I think that's a timer that's counting down, I'm not sure. I gotta say, this is probably one of the more complicated ECU installs ever. I'm just used to standalones where you just kind of plug in and go. I always do the plug and play options with the exception for my black FD, which has an old ass Haltech E6K, which, stop beeping at me, which is old as dirt. And that one you actually do have to wire up a whole harness for. But ever since then, I'm all for plug and play ECUs all the way. So we'll see what happens. But again, I guess the real key here for going with this is that because we're kind of like more of a piggyback unit, I can retain all the OBD2 compliance, which is critical for emissions because I hate having to jump through hoops or do sketchy things to get cars through emissions. I don't like doing it. So all this should hopefully theoretically allow me to pass emissions and not have to do anything to the car. If I can drive there, pass and leave, that would be perfect. So we're almost done here. I'm gonna come back to the laptop. Progress bar is at the end. So instead of me talking your ear off, we're just gonna take a quick break while this finishes and we'll be right back. And we are back. So it says that it completed successfully and it wants me to turn off the ignition. So ignition off. Okay. And I have a successful completion here, but I don't know. Oh, I can save. I think this is what I want to do. I think I want to save this. Well, you know what? You guys don't need to see this. I'm going to save it. I'm going to email it back over to him, and we will update you as soon as the next step comes back. Hopefully tonight, so I can get this video uploaded and out to you guys for tomorrow morning. All right, guys, so we are ready to wrap this one up here. The developer got back to me. So what I originally did was I sent him the dump file that I pulled from the ECU. He sent it back to me in a hex format, which is now editable with MazdaEdit. So it's a MazdaEdit hex file. I didn't touch that one. I made a copy of it and just renamed it. So this is the one that I'm actually going to be using to mess with when I make changes for the car. I'm gonna leave the other one as just like a fail-safe to go back to. So when you open that file in MazdaEdit here, you have all of your maps that are associated from that file related to the ECU. I did a little bit of browsing around in here. We're not going to talk about this too much now. We're going to save that for the next segment on this, but there are fuel and ignition table maps in here. One of the interesting things is the DTC list here, and I'm not sure which one of these is the one that you edit because they all have the same values in them, but these are all your DTC codes, so your cells, your P0 whatevers. I know for a fact right now that I have 400 codes because I deleted the air pump assembly during the header install. So the way you would disable them, which I went and did already here, is you change the values from a 01 to a 00. So these are the two codes that I get for removing the air pump assembly. I did not write this yet because just want to make sure that I understand everything and I'm not missing anything, because it is a flash process and I don't want to screw up or like brick the ECU. So that's going to be for the next time. Another thing I'm going to probably look into doing is lowering the temperature that the radiator fans come on, because it's already known that they come on pretty hot. I want to say it's around 214 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature before they kick on, which is kind of high, so I'm going to lower these a little bit too. But it's just kind of neat that you could do a bunch of this stuff. I don't know how this is going to be yet for tuning in real time. That I'll report back once we go out and actually try to do some real tuning on it. So it is Memorial Day weekend. This video is airing much later than what I was hoping to because of all the back and forth with the ECU installation. Thank you all of those who have served us and served our country and give us our freedom. I greatly appreciate that. And I hope you all have a very safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. That's it for this one, guys. Stay tuned till next time.